One, you're good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 37 of the Generic Gaming Podcast.Mp3, the podcast where we talk about a new game every single week. My name is Logan Myrie, and as always, I'm joined by the busiest dude in this household, Eric
sure.
Krause.
Definitely.
I don't know if that's true. I get up in the morning, I put on my big boy pants, I go to work.
I mean, you have a 9 to 5, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the extent of your busiest.
Yeah, I mean, we do this.
Yeah, well, all you have to do really for this is put together some news stories.
Yeah,
and
Eric,
then
I'm the
sit
face.
down and talk.
I'm the face of this, all right?
Yeah, well, I make sure everything's working. Without me, you just would be staring at a mirror, I guess.
That's true, yeah. I would do this, but just with no audience.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair. Anyways, everyone, if you enjoy this show, if you've ever enjoyed this show, or you think maybe one day you'll enjoy this show, you should go rate us on iTunes. You should follow us everywhere. Follow us on all the things. SoundCloud, download all the fucking podcast apps you don't even use. Also,
yeah, just give us those listens, you know? Go to every podcast app you can find. We're on it, probably.
go listen to us while you sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stream us while you sleep. You don't even have to listen to us talk, and it still helps us out.
Yeah. Just play it on mute. You don't have to have your volume. Just play it.
Just play it on mute. We're streaming now. We're live, baby. So if you like this, follow us on Twitch. It helps us get to affiliate faster, which we would very much like to do so that we could take some of Jeff Bezos' money. You know?
He's got way too much.
He's got so much money, and he should kick us a few dollars. So you following us helps us do that. You following us helps, take Jeff Bezos down a notch.
Yeah, and that's all we want. That's what everyone wants, is to take Jeff Bezos down a notch, you know?
Yeah.
He's just been living too high for too long, you know?
Eric, playing games is hard, dude. We have lives, and I have played nothing.
My problem is that I've only played one game, and it's like, especially now.
You're playing old games, dude.
I'm not playing old games. Destiny 2 is not really old.
Old, Eric. It's
not
old.
Really.
It's not, no one cares anymore.
It gets new content like every 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, but it's not going to get us views, Eric.
So? I also played Risk of Rain. That was a new game.
Fact.
Got a new update yesterday. I streamed that.
Well, I've been playing my friend Pedro, but we'll talk about that more later. So, Eric, let's get into the news.
In the news, doo-doo-doo.
Heck yeah, good jingle. This first story comes from Kotaku, and I'll tell you who the author is in just a second. Luke Plunkett. And the headline
That's
is...
made up, man.
No, he's been there for a long time.
Has he?
Yeah.
Plunkett?
Yeah,
I feel like I've never heard of Plunkett.
That's like a game, right? Like a board, isn't that like a... You pull the strings or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The board game?
No.
Plunkett? Anyways.
Plunkett? I feel like... Oh, is it the game that there's like marbles in it and you're pulling like the little plastic pieces,
yeah,
right?
that one.
That's called Plunkett?
I think so.
I don't think that's called Plunkett.
Anyways, Red Dead Online players escape game world, find beautiful desert paradise. So essentially, it's this group, and they are called... It's Australian game devs. They're called the Grannies. And they basically exploited the game world and got out of it, and they found this beautiful desert landscape.
What?
And so the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it made me sort of nostalgic, right? Did you ever break games when you were a kid?
I mean, I never intentionally would go out of my way to break them and be playing it just to break it and figure out, but it was you do random stuff and then you just get a crazy glitch to happen.
Yeah, so I used to be super into breaking games, kind of, and I would look up mainly online games because it was fun and whatever you do with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to be around Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, as everyone who was in middle school at that time was.
Who had an Xbox?
Yeah. And so we used to go into private lobbies and stuff, and you do all these crazy how to get out of the map, jump here, do here,
yeah.
And it was I always felt like it was so much fun because you'd get to parts of the map, you'd kind of get to see the way that the map is sort of pieced together because there's this giant black wall, and it's just, I don't know, it's super cool, and it reminded me of doing that kind of stuff. Obviously this is much more fruitful because they found this whole expansive,
what's
beautiful
crazy
landscape.
How insane it looks. It's it's random pieces that are just the game just needs to render in. And so it still looks crazy beautiful because the sky is still the same hyper realistic sky that Red Dead has throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the only thing that looks weird are the janky ground textures that pop in at different points. But it was still crazy how good it looked. And it's oh, this isn't even anything anyone was supposed to ever see.
Yeah, and so I mean, there was some speculation, at least in the article, about like, well, maybe this was an area for DLC or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyways, very cool. I liked that a lot. I thought it was kicking it off with a fun little story, and later we'll move on to some less fun things.
I also really like their method of getting into those, like, that weird area where, like, they just had, like, 4 people trying to break into it, and then once they had one person successfully do it, the other ones would just go there, and they'd lasso them and pull them, and, like, basically into the world. So I thought that was pretty funny, too.
Yeah, a lot of ingenuity in this kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah. It looks like the QA testers did try that. Because they were too busy not being invited to the parties.
Well, that's a different thing, I'm sure, yeah. This next one comes from VentureBeat, and the headline is Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony are right. Trump's tariffs are foolish. The reason I picked this one is because a lot of people were reporting on this, and this was the first one that kind of came out and like had an opinion. And I am not well versed enough on tariffs and such to have an opinion, really. So I was like, I'm gonna default.
Yeah.
And so basically what happened was Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all kind of wrote this joint letter to the United States Trade Representative Joseph Barloon, and they said, hey, these tariffs suck, and they're really bad for us, and they're going to be really bad for the people who play our games. And so that was the gist of it. And then it's kind of like, thinking about it, it's kind of, when they said Trump's putting tariffs out, right, on China to, force China to make better trade deals and all that stuff, I was like, this probably isn't going to end well for us specifically, because China's not the one paying the tariff. It's the companies who are importing things from China. And I guess
it's not even the companies aren't paying it; the consumers are paying it.
Well, yeah,
but
every time
paying it.
Sony ships PlayStations from China, they pay a tariff on each one of those consoles, which then probably gets passed down to us.
Yes, which makes it more
ultimately
expensive for
sucks
us.
ass for us.
Yeah. Which resulted in nothing but Trump hurting the American consumer.
Listen, if there's anyone that Trump does not want to piss off, it's the gamers.
Yeah, fucking the gamers are gonna rise up.
Oh my god. And essentially this article talks about how there actually was an effort to ease some of these problems that we're having with China, and it was called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was one of the first things that Trump ended up actually pulling out of. So it's kind of interesting because it's like, we had this thing that was maybe going to work and maybe would be less shitty, and instead we're opting for a more shitty thing.
Which, I don't know, to the chagrin of no one, I guess. I mean, the problem is that it's just no longer ever surprising when Trump just keeps driving America to the ground.
Yeah, I've been listening to, again, like I said, a lot of This American Life, and they bring up a lot of these things, and they interview a lot of these people, and I'm like, God, I just am so fucking bummed about the place that we are in right now.
Yeah.
Just all across the board.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out, because obviously we're going to go into a trade war with China probably pretty soon here. And I feel like it's going to be not a war that's easily won for us when most of all our products are from China, so.
Yep. And I guess, I mean, you could say like, well, why don't we just make them here? But that also seems probably unfeasible.
Well, the reason a lot of companies make stuff other places and not America is because it's way cheaper.
It's way cheaper.
And they can avoid tax stuff as well. So that's why. But we'll see how this works out. PS5 or end up having to pay a lot more, maybe.
I mean, it's interesting, especially because Microsoft and Sony probably have a huge stake in this because they're coming out with new consoles next year.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, fuck.
And if the leaked rumors about the Switch Mini are true, then that Nintendo also has a new console coming. So it's going to fuck them, too.
This next story comes from Kotaku's Jason Schreier. And I feel like whenever we say Jason's name, it's always a bummer.
I feel like every time we say Jason's name, it is a bummer, but I feel like he also gets like $1. Like
$1 every time?
Yeah, every time we say his name, particularly.
We do?
Yeah, because I feel like he would just be loaded by now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's not getting $1.
Yeah.
But he's doing good reporting over there. And this is the human cost of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And originally when I saw this story, I was like, we're probably not going to talk about this. We've talked about crunch a lot, and frankly, we have zero insight into this. So we can't really say much past, wow, this fucking sucks. I wanted to talk about this story specifically because of Are we good? Oh, we're good.
I don't know what just happened.
The camera made a weird sound. Anyways, so this story is really strange because it talked about how all of the QA testers are treated like second-class citizens, and I was like, I feel like it's been kind of a known thing that QA is like looked down upon, but I didn't realize to this extent where they were like having fucking pizza parties and shit, and then they were like, oh, the QA testers can have the leftovers like when it's cold.
It's like at this point in the article that I was reading it, and I was like, is this like a satirical article? Because it really does seem like they're just pulling a joke on like the QA testers, like, oh, you guys can't come to the cool kids table, like, and like they're making them park in further away parking lots, like.
They have to park like they have to like have 10 extra minutes of like walking distance or whatever because they have to park in a different parking lot than everyone else, and they're not eligible for bonuses. Yeah, and like
it seems like it just seems really weird because it seems like a joke's being played on only the QA testers and everyone else is in on it.
It's a pretty fucked up joke, Eric.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing too. And the bad part is too, like that is mentioned in the article, is like they're being paid like $13 an hour, and I really felt bad when it was like Activision CEO got a $15 million thing, and it's like, oh, they couldn't even get a $15 bonus. Like
they one of the interesting quotes I thought was they said, you know, we don't even get bonuses, and around bonus season we see all of these like new Teslas and shit coming in, and then it's like, well, if you see a beater car in the parking lot, you know it's a contractor or like a QA tester because they don't get shit.
Yeah, and then after, I don't know when this article, it went live like yesterday, right? Or like this morning. Jason Schreier also tweeted out like a little bit ago that a bunch of contractors have now reached out to him, like basically repeating this, like how they've just been
from multiple studios.
Yeah, from multiple studios, how it's just been awful conditions. They don't get paid or pretty much credited sometimes for like all the huge amount of work they have to do and the amount of crunch that they actually put in, like doing the extra work and the extra hours.
Yeah. Another thing that really stuck out to me was they were talking about the crunch was apparently, I mean, at this point, who's surprised, right? They were working 12-hour days Monday through Thursday, a normal day on Friday, and an extra day on Saturday, like totaling up to 70 hours a week. And then it goes in to talk about, they were getting paid time and a half, which for a lot of them was entirely necessary to even like live where they're living in LA. And so it's like they're crunching insanely, but it's also like necessary to be a person. Like, you know, at this point it's not even like, oh, they're like missing time with their family and stuff, because they are, but also they need that time to pay their bills. Yeah. Which, I don't know, man. It's just so crazy. I cannot imagine being in this position and wanting to stay. And that's the concern here, right? Is that this shit's happening and tons of people are leaving the industry for other things that are not going to kill them.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember I wrote an article for the Stoutonia, the newspaper I used to work for, talking about college students and how crunch, you know, affects them, and how it's kind of this expectation that like you're gonna crunch, and so you might as well start now, kind of. And when I talked to the professors, they were all kind of like, no, we don't. We're really upfront about like this is gonna happen, and this is how you kind of avoid crunch. And so it seemed like, you know, it's not like the university was doing this to these kids, but they were kind of self-imposing a lot of it. And then they talked about like, it sucks because I want to do this career, but I don't want to be crunching at 40. You know what I mean? I remember specifically one student saying that to me, and I was like, that sucks, man. Can you imagine being like, this is what I want. This is the career I want, but I probably am not going to be able to do it that long.
Yeah. Just because it's going to be slowly killing you.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Once you have kids and stuff, what's the point, right?
Yeah, even if you get to that point, because your life's going to be all consumed by having to crunch and do all this extra work. So, like, you're having no time for a life normally, so...
I don't know. It's just a bummer. And I hope that we can take steps to fix this, because it's going to be better for all of us. It's going to lead to happier people making games, better games for us. It's just...
Honestly, let's just put Jason Schreier out of a job so he can stop writing these articles, you know?
Yeah, that's the solution?
Yeah, because if Jason Schreier no longer has to write these articles, it means we fixed this problem.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I thought you meant just get rid of his job, and then people will stop crunching, I guess.
No, I mean stop crunching so that his job is obsolete.
Yeah, so then he
can write like articles that aren't super depressing.
He can go back to delaying games. And stuff.
Exactly. You can go back to getting blacklisted by Kotaku, or not Kotaku, Konami. Right? Yeah, it's Konami.
And Bethesda was the other
kind
of big one. Anywho, yeah, so I don't know. We're probably just going to keep talking about crunch. Every time it comes up, I think it's a good time to start a conversation, and I feel like it's kind of stupid to be like, oh, it's old news that, everyone knows everyone's crunching, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like we can't just be, like accept it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't run a studio. I'm not making plans for any of these people. I don't support crunch, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know, I think that we can be vocal about it, and I think that pushes a lot of these companies to like make changes.
Also, just end up voting with your wallet in the end, which sucks because it does hurt the people that worked on the game.
No, well, I mean, a lot of people have said don't do that, like, because it's like, I don't know, that's not going to help them.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, see, like, how do we fix this then, though? Because if you do that, then it does hurt the people that spent the thousands of hours working on the game.
Yeah, making it. They want people to play it, I'm sure.
But you also need to hurt the company a little bit to be
I think the bad press is what's hurting them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but is it? They're still making the money off of the game. In the end, people are still buying their games, even though they know it's being made, like, under these bad conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting issue. I haven't really heard any advice as to what the consumer can do besides just be aware and be vocal, right? Like, and I don't know if voting with your wallet is like the right move, because again, like, these people poured their hearts into these games, and it's like, it's kind of shitty to play it.
I don't know. It's a hard thing to fix, and I don't really have a solution right now for it.
If we had a solution, we'd be much richer than we are.
We'd be much better off.
Eric, I have a fun hot topic, and it all kicks off with this little article from gamesindustry.biz, Rebecca Valentine. And it's Rovio sues California chicken restaurant over Angry Birds trademark. And essentially, the Finnish developer Rovio sues this chicken restaurant because they're using something very similar to the Angry Birds logo with pretty much the Angry Birds font.
Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same font.
Yeah, and so it's like, I see this stuff all the time, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's
you see bootleg Angry Birds merch all the time.
Yeah, and just any IP. And so it kind of made me start thinking about like this kind of fun idea of like, if you could just jack an IP and make some like jank business off of it, what would you do?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. I feel like the easy solution or like easy pick would be like doing X IP in like a restaurant.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I don't want to do
overcooked,
that. Yeah, like an overcooked restaurant where a lot of that's just a restaurant, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess the whole building can move around and shift, but that seems like a real big hazard.
Breath of the Wild restaurant, they make they make it in a little pot and it makes the sounds and shit.
Oh yeah, and you can throw the pots and break all the pots and you get the ingredients. That'd be pretty good. But so my idea was, instead of doing a restaurant, it would be kind of like a zoo or like a theme park. And then you get those guys from Boston Dynamics that make all the robots to basically make a bunch of Horizon Zero Dawn robot replicas, and then it'd be like a Jurassic Park with all the robot dinosaurs.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. You thought this through pretty well.
Yeah.
I was just kind of thinking about some dumb puns, and the first one I came up with was God of War axe throwing.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, and
all the little hatchets are like the God of War
all
ones.
The little hatchets look like the Leviathan axe.
Mm-hmm.
We got ale and such. There's a dude who looks like Kratos in there yelling at you
and
calling
got
you
dudes
boy.
that look like Gendry and stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty good. That one I liked pretty well. That's a pretty good one.
I actually kind of like that idea a lot. I wish that existed.
Yeah, that's good. There could be like a big axe or something that you could throw too.
Oh yeah. There's this place in the Dells that's like an axe throwing place. And I've honestly been really interested, and it's weird because they sell beer in there, which seems like a shit
really
idea.
Bad combination, yeah.
Yeah, but I've always kind of wanted to throw an axe, and it seems kind of fun.
It does seem fun. Although that one like video on Twitter just terrifies me, where the girl throws the axe, but she lets it go too late, and so it kind of goes down, and it bounces off the floor, off the wall, and comes back towards her. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
You could also just have a GTA business where you just steal cars.
Yeah, isn't that just you stealing? Not really a business. I don't think. I
didn't say a legal business.
I guess, but I don't think Rocksteady owns the rights for stealing cars.
Or the word Grand Theft Auto.
Or the word Grand Theft Auto. So like that, I don't feel like you need the IP for that. Whereas like God of War Axe Throwing, you need the IP if you're gonna jack that.
Yeah.
Although, do you? Because a lot of it is just Norse stuff. Unless you specifically have like Kratos or Atreus
Well, the
and
axe
stuff
specifically was their creation, right?
there. Was it? It's just Norse ruins on an axe.
Well, yeah, but like,
I feel like you can get away with it.
yeah, maybe, but yeah.
Especially because they're hatchets. They're not like a huge giant axe.
Okay.
Yeah, you could scam that.
You could get away with it. You just
Yeah.
I mean, you can be kind of tongue in cheek with the font work and shit. I just feel like
Yeah.
you have to be not, you know, you have to ride the line.
The problem is you have to just avoid any or an all reference to it. Otherwise, they could get you like how like South Butt got sued by North Face. Because they're not violating anything, but they're very similar, and that's how they got them.
Yeah.
And so you just have to make sure there's no reference at all to God of War and be like, it's just coincidental.
Oh yeah. We also just love Norse mythology.
Yeah, exactly. You got 2 runes on your arm, just pass for that.
It's true. You know, I had one. I feel like there could be more haunted houses that are horror game themed.
Yeah, I have like a Resident Evil haunted house kind of
Yeah,
thing.
an Outlast haunted house.
What if you had like a Resident Evil thing where you wore some like kind of like VR goggles, but not really. But it showed they were connected to a camera feed that was like up top in the building, and so you could see yourself walking around.
Yeah.
And it had that kind of like tank mechanic to it.
That sounds real jank, and it sounds like it would fucking make me throw up.
Yeah, that sounds like the biggest headache ever.
Cause you ever do that thing where you're trying to like you're looking in the mirror and you're trying to like
Yeah, you have to operate and
you're like I don't
reverse.
Your brain just kind of fucking breaks. You're
Yeah,
like I don't really know how to do this.
You keep doing the same thing over, wondering why it's not working. Yeah, that'd be really hard to just operate in third person, especially from an angle that you can't really see where it is.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting though, because I feel like at least I haven't heard of anything that's trying to like gamify. Well, not game, like I don't know what the word would be. Make like a real life interpretation of a game, because you know it's more like movies and shit. But like, can you imagine where you go? It's an Until Dawn horror house, right?
Yeah.
And you go, and there's all these spooky dudes, and they're making you like choose, right? And like wouldn't that be cool? Like some sort of interactive haunted house.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
That's
sick.
kind of a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I wonder if that exists.
I don't know. I feel like that would be very hard to put together.
Oh yeah, super hard. I'm just saying.
Usually, like, haunted house just has some shithead high school kids that are probably high that you pay and just to scare people.
Yeah.
So you need like actual actors for that stuff.
I hate anything scary. I'm not a person who likes to be scared.
Yeah.
And so every time I go to a haunted house, I'm like, I fucking do not like this. And it's it's jump scares. It's the worst kind of scary, where it's just like trying to give you a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought it'd be really fun to be in a haunted house.
That would be like one of these.
Yeah,
people.
be one of the dudes, because then it's like you know everything. You know, it's not scary, and like the act of scaring someone would probably be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I talked about it on this show or the other show we used to do, but there was one guy. There was like an old guy that went to a haunted house. I can't remember where it was, but he ends up having a heart attack and dies in the haunted house. And like everyone just kept walking by him thinking it was just like a prop or
just
something.
A prop, dead body.
And they didn't notice for like a few weeks, and the only reason they noticed is because he started to smell.
Oh, gross, dude.
So
I don't like that at all.
There's also a haunted house. I think it was like in Chicago or something, and it's like in like a whole ass building, and you have to like sign a waiver. Because they're like allowed to grab you and stuff.
I was just gonna ask if you would ever do something like that, because I would say fuck no.
I do that one. Because they're allowed to like grab you and like tie you up and like
nope.
They'll run like a chainsaw against you, like without the blade, obviously.
That sounds like a huge no for me.
I don't know. I feel like it's really dangerous because like what if your fight or flight kicks in and instead of flight you just activate fight and just
that
like,
happens. That's like a thing.
Out of
I've read things where people get like charged with literal like fucking battery for punching like spooky clowns and shit.
Oh yeah. See,
like,
that's the part of being a haunted house employee that I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, because
there's that high chance someone's gonna hate you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm.
I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't deal with that shit. I really do not like it, and I always get roped into it, and I always hate it.
Yeah, we should go do one soon.
No.
Why? They're fun.
I feel like horror movies I can deal with to a certain extent, because it's like, you know, at some point you're just like, all right, I'm just going along for the ride, whatever. Games, apparently very hard, because you're in control and it's much more stressful.
You're the one who has to keep moving.
Yeah, and it's like God, I was playing Outlast and all I wanted to do was sit in one room and wait there.
Just stop. Yeah.
But haunted houses, man, I'm like, this shit's just too like. I feel like at some point I kind of forget that I'm in a haunted house and I'm just freaked out. So just not for me. But I mean, I'd help set up a haunted house where they made you choose and shit. That sounds kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be fun. Should do it. Wait, should we do it in our apartment?
No, there's no room in here.
Well, you have them go in certain rooms. You have a person. Okay, so we have like we can section it up off basically 4 rooms, right? We have our 2 rooms. We can put the closet to something too, and then we could like cut the living room and kitchen, and like we have put up walls and shit. But basically, it'd be like a 30-minute experience, right?
Okay.
You have them come in and then go to one room, and while they're in that room, there's some like multiple people out here that change like the area around, and once they come out, it looks different, and then they go into another room, change it around again, comes out, looks different. And what you could do is you hook up mics in every room, so the people out here changing the stuff can hear what's happening, and so they make the choices in that room. It changes how it looks out here.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I read about a board game where you're making a haunted house, and like it's kind of like that, I guess, a little bit.
Don't know how that's remotely similar at all.
Whatever. Eric. Bum 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 bum. Game of the show. We're talking about my friend Pedro. So I saw this game forever ago, right? I feel like there's been trailers out and stuff. It's a really weird game. You're playing this dude, he's got guns and shit, and there's this little banana that's ordering you around basically, and you're just shooting people. And I guess the kind of appeal is that it's like gun ballet, where you're trying to get like you're trying to do tricks to gain points and shit.
Yeah, kill everyone in the most stylish way possible.
Yeah, and at the end of every level, there's like a rating you get. And I haven't beaten it yet, but I'm probably like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours in. So I've played like a pretty fair amount. I get the gist. And so far, I really like it. I feel like it's one of those games where I can be like, they did what they set out to do. Where it's like the combat feels really like, wow, I'm doing some really cool shit. And I know that like down the road when I'm like better at this game and I like go back and replay all these levels to get like, you know, A status, like I'll be able to like pull off some really crazy shit. And I guess my only hang up was that it took me longer to get, like I feel like I'm still getting there where like I'm not like, it still feels kind of hard to do the shit that I'm supposed to be doing.
So the thing with the controls, right, is that they're not janky, but it's like it's kind of unconventional. Weird, it's an unconventional system, so you kind of have to train your brain differently to play it, and so it hasn't really clicked for you at all yet. Then,
well, okay, so the first kind of hang up is that you know, in the trailers you always see the guy like holding his arms out and like shooting in different directions. Yeah, and I don't know why I always assumed that would be controlled with separate sticks.
Yeah, each stick and arm.
But then it's like, how do you move, right? Yeah, and so how they solve that is that you use the left trigger to lock, like you'll aim at a dude and you'll use the left trigger to lock onto him, and then you'll aim with the other stick, like the right stick, to at whoever you want and pull the trigger. It'll shoot both ways, and it works, and that's like not too crazy to like get a hang of, but it is just kind of like, I always forget that I'm aiming at the one person, and it's like, I don't know, it's a little strange. Yeah. But yeah, going into slow-mo is super easy. I thought it was gonna be more of like a rare occasion kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I'm building up to do this super cool shit and then I do it. But really, like, anytime you jump, you can basically just go into slow-mo. Well, you can go to slow-mo at any time, but you know, you jump, you go into slow-mo, shoot, it pull off the cool tricks and then land and keep going. And so that's cool. I like that a lot. As you get farther into the game, they introduce more mechanics, like, you know, you get like a shotgun, which is cool, and then you start like ricocheting bullets off of things, and you can start kicking things at people. And the one thing that I've liked the most about this game is that there's these sections that kind of help break up like just the level by level stuff, where it's like, in this one you're riding a bike down a highway and you're doing what you normally do, but you're on a bike, so it's like you slow down time and you do like a backflip on the bike and you're shooting like it's really cool. And sometimes like in the levels there'll be levels that are kind of built like a skate park, and you're on a skateboard and just shooting dudes, and it's really fast, and you can slow down and like jump off the skateboard and like kick it at them and get back on it. It's so cool.
So how is the level progression then? Is it the levels getting harder, or is it adding just different things to do with like going down the hill, being on a skateboard?
It's both. So there's like more enemies, and they're kind of positioned in a way so that you have to be like more strategic about how you're going to enter the room and shit like that. But they're also adding more mechanics, so it's like you can do like more complicated moves. Yeah. And I haven't had too much problem with like getting past any areas. I think I got stuck on one level for like 4 or 5 tries. That was just because it was like, wow, there's so many people in here. The other thing is that you can like dodge bullets. It's kind of this weird move where it's like you just hold the left bumper and your dude, if as long as he's moving, will just start spinning. And apparently that means he can dodge anything coming at him.
Yeah, duh.
And so it makes you like invincible kind of, and that's cool because you can still shoot. So he'll do this, like he'll cross his arms at his chest and just shoot both ways.
It doesn't aim though, right? It just
no,
shoots.
it doesn't aim. That's kind of the downside, is that it's like you kind of have to be on like a parallel. You have to be parallel with them. So yeah, that's kind of like you have to dodge more and all that stuff, and the game will kind of remind you of that, where it's like, oh, you're getting shot, like you should probably dodge.
Are there bosses or anything?
So I've only had one kind of boss where it's this dude and he's in this like helicopter and he's like, you're going through the level and he's like shooting you, and it's like you have to stay out of his way because it'll kill you really fast.
Yeah.
And you get to the end of the level and it's this kind of weird thing where you're trying to ricochet bullets to hit it in the back of the helicopter where like this weird energy fucking thing is. And so I wasn't super like pleased with that one. It felt super, oh, I gotta jump up here and then jump down and shoot, and like that's kind of the whole thing. And
you
just do that over and over,
rinse and repeat, kind of.
And I was like, this game felt like it'd be really cool for boss fights, but it just didn't. I don't know. I feel like so much of it is that you're moving, and it's like you're trying to move through the level, and so it worked pretty well when the boss was like following you.
Yeah,
but it didn't work so well when it's like
when a stationary thing that you have to move around.
Yeah, so that didn't work out that well. So yeah, but doing the tricks is I feel like I'm getting there. It's really fun to like kick shit in midair and like shoot that, and it's cool. I'm starting to get how you kind of get into the rhythm with that.
How long is it? Like, are you pretty much all the way through, or what?
You know what, Eric? I'm gonna give that a quick Google because I actually don't know. I assumed that I was gonna beat this game pretty fast just because I was like, it's Devolver. The last Devolver game I played was Katana Zero. That game's so short, like you can beat it like in pretty much one playthrough. So I had assumed that I'd be able to beat this game pretty fast, but I haven't. So I'm just gonna give it a quick Google. How long?
How long have you been playing?
I said probably close to 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I kind of figured that would be like standard.
Yeah.
So it's 4 hours.
4 hours? Okay, so you're pretty much most of the way through that.
Yeah, I'm most of the way through.
Are you gonna go back and get all the generic games?
That's the big thing. Is I think the replayability on this is like really high because it's like I haven't gotten. There was like one level where I got B, like a B rating, and I obviously want an A rating. And it feels like that's gonna be kind of hard to do because there's bonuses for like killing everyone in the level, bonuses for not dying. There's a difficulty bonus, so it's like to get A, you'll probably have to meet some of those standards.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the big appeal. Is I really think that this is a game that's like you'll play through it once, you'll get the whole thing, you'll know how to play the game, and you do it again.
So you're not like playing a level, you get a B ranking and going back replaying it to get the A ranking?
No, I didn't
keep going.
I didn't really want to do that just because I don't know if it felt more natural to just keep going, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that kind of feels like maybe that'd be more fun to just go back. I guess I don't know. And also I wanted to beat it before we started recording this, but that didn't happen.
Yeah. So, but the game's like it's not. Can you pretty much beat the level no matter what? Like you'll get a low ranking?
No matter what you do. Like it'll kind of shame you for it, where it's like C for you didn't even try. Like and that's kind of. I mean, there's no story from what I can tell. You kind of just wake up and this banana's your friend, and he's making jokes and kind of guiding you through these levels, and you're kind of just running in with all these bad dudes, and like there's a bounty on your head, but none of it's like whatever, right? So I'm assuming there's like no story payoff there. That's not really the appeal.
Yeah.
But it's got like a really funny sense of humor. Like people, like I don't know, are just yelling things at you, and the banana's always saying like, "Oh, this place reminds me of a party I went to one time," and like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
There was one joke that made me actually like kind of snort a little bit because I thought it was funny, but I don't remember what it is right now.
Yeah. Well, you have to play and find out.
It's got like a pretty good sense of humor, I'd say.
Yeah. Does it get old then by like 30 hours in, or does it stay
no, because it's really, so the banana usually only talks like at the beginning of a level, and each level is like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes, and so he's just like some quick lines, really easy like to just skip through or whatever if you're not interested, and then you keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really zany. Like at one point you end up at a bounty hunter Christmas party, and you come in and you're like, wow, I'm sure glad that I don't have a bounty out on my head. And then it literally immediately it's like every year we do a big bounty raffle. Whoever kills this dude gets like a bunch of money, and it turns out to be you.
Oh, okay. You're the dude with the bounty on him?
Yeah, you're like the major bounty that now everyone wants to kill.
Oh, so you just have to go around and kill everyone in the room?
Pretty much, yeah. And it's just like kind of weird and zany, right? And like there's like a bunch of Christmas shit around. I don't know.
So how are all the guns? Because I know you can get a bunch of different guns, right?
Yeah,
Do they feel different enough from each other? Are they fun to use, or is there one you're using all the time?
So you start off with a pistol, and very quickly you get the second pistol, which obviously helps you like shoot in both directions. Then you get like an Uzi, and you get another one of those. And that gun's probably like the best, I'd say, for because it shoots fast, whereas the pistol kind of shoots whatever. And then the last gun, at least I think this is the last gun, probably is the shotgun, which kills like really fast, up close kind of thing. It spreads really long. But you obviously can't like dual wield, so you can only shoot in one direction.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of the drawback of that. When you're in slow-mo, like even when you're not in slow-mo, like the rate that the firing is kind of weird, because it's like you're pressing the trigger and it just doesn't feel like it's as fast. There's kind of, you can't just like...
Oh, so it feels like you're playing in slow-mo too?
It's just like there's like a buffer between each shot that doesn't, like, it's there, but it's like, ooh, it feels like it shouldn't be there. And when you're in slow-mo, it's obviously like the bullets are going slow, you gotta be whatever. I don't know, the shooting feels fine. Like it's not like it just doesn't feel as good as I'd like it to, I guess. Whereas like, I don't know, it's not like that satisfying to actually kill someone. It's just kind of the way that you do it that's fun.
Yeah, it's satisfying to look cool doing it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt too. I only played a little bit of it. I haven't really played that much into it. But like once you get the controls down, then it seems just like, oh, killing's not the point. Looking cool while doing it.
Yeah, looking cool while you kill people is the point. Like it's not about the killing really. That doesn't really, you can literally walk through the game and like crouch and shoot and you'll win, but it's like that's lame.
Because you get basically all the points for the ranking system is style points, right?
Yep. So it's like, oh, you got times 2 points for killing someone while hanging from something, or doing a flip, and you can combo them where you get more points for split killing people, and like what if you do that ricocheting? It's really so it's like it's a lot of like building combos. Yeah, which is pretty interesting.
Be fun. Gonna play it pretty soon here.
Yeah, so if you're watching live right after this, we're gonna start playing My Friend Pedro. I think I'm gonna pick up right where I left off and probably play through the end, and then maybe we'll jump in and you can play some, or I don't know. We'll figure that out later.
We'll figure it out while we're doing it.
This has been kind of a short one, but I'm feeling pretty good about, I feel like I've said all I want about My Friend Pedro. It's not like mind-blowing. I don't think this is going to end up on like my game of the year list, you know what I mean? But it's $20. I feel like it's super worth the price. Like it's a lot of fun, and it's not a short game. I think it's got a ton of replayability.
Yeah.
But damn, Devolver Digital like has it's funny because they're indie, right? They're not really indie. It's just kind of like they make small games, or they publish small games. But there's definitely like a standard of quality that they always hit. I feel like with their games, like Katana Zero was dope, Ape Out was dope. This game is sweet, right? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I really like. It's super cool because I feel like they've become like the indie publisher, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like they kind of do like the best of the best. So it's really cool.
Yeah, they definitely hit that bar with all their games. Like, they don't put a game out unless it hits that bar, and usually it has to have like cool art style, really good gameplay mechanic, and then 5 to 8 hours on. Yeah,
pretty much. And so whereas I felt like Katana Zero was like, I really was into the world, everything about that game is probably going to end up my top 10 list. This game is like, it doesn't quite hit that level for me, but I still think it's super worth it. I still think it's worth playing. Sweet game.
Sick.
All right, everyone, this has been the Generic Gaming Podcast.Mp3. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching live, please stick around because we're going to be playing My Friend Pedro, and you'll get to see what we were just talking about. Please tune in next week when someone who actually has time to play some games tells us how the fuck they do it. Anyways, we love you, unless you suck, in which case we don't, and you should probably work on that. Have a good one. We're back. Get back in position.